Yo, brethren one and brethren two, Hamid and Shaz, my brothers, what's happening in your side of the world? What's going
Busy,
on out
busy.
there,
Having
guys?
pretty hectic day. As you know, first Thursdays gets really chaotic in Cape
Yeah,
Town, and yeah, we're running some events as well tonight. So I've
yeah.
been up and down the whole day. Yeah.
I don't think you guys have ever seen me with glasses. What do you guys think of my
Yeah, I was just thinking that.
um?
I like
What's
the
what's the
look.
name of the what's the name of the guy that made the nuclear bomb? What Roth? No, not
Oppenheimer.
Oppenheimer.
Yeah,
What do you think of my Oppenheimer look? It's pretty. I look intelligent, eh?
Sophisticated, yeah.
intimidation.
Yeah, no, I went and fixed my hair and everything for you guys. So, yeah, guys, welcome to the first episode of the Epic Show, which pretty much goes in line with my book of Be Epic, of this passion project I've had on the side of guys kind of learning from my life and my life experiences at a far earlier age than I had to go and learn them because I think I only became a human being around the age of 30. So, yeah, if any knowledge we can pass on to the youth, we can have these shows, but I'm sure I'll have you guys back because, you guys, we speak every day. We're busy with all sorts of stuff ourselves, with the StarTex project, with our show plans, with all the other stuff. And yeah, let's kick it off on the first episode. Hamid, tell me, my brother, what do you got on your mind? We said we're going to do this an open mind freestyle show. Tell us about your events, what's happening there in Cape Town and First Thursdays. What's going on in the
Yeah.
world today on
So
your side?
so first Thursdays in Cape Town is very hectic. So we've got an events company, and we throw events, here, there, everywhere. Um, so tonight is a little bit hectic. We've got like two different venues that we're managing. So I've just been up and down the whole day, but it took some time out to obviously do this. I've never done a live stream before. It's my first time doing something like this. But, I just wanted to share some, insights and stuff about what StarTex is. I want to let the people know exactly what it is and how you can utilize, and also like past experiences, where I could have used something like this, but back then it didn't exist. So now it's like an easy way for people to benefit from something that I didn't have back in my day.
Yeah, like we were talking when we before we came on live when it was just the three of us on studio. The whole concept of StarTex is this easy to use platform for spot ideas. When you got ideas on the spot, there's an app for it now which never existed. Guys, incubation, accelerators, private equity, venture capital, all of this is existed for centuries. We're not going to say we went and reinvented the wheel, but I think we've hit a nail on the head of being the first guys that pretty much created this ecosystem that's like a combination of everything. And it's on an easy to use platform, which is just an app that you can get in any app store. You submit your idea, you got the advisors there, you got the investors that will come in, you've got the AI there. Yeah, I'm selling StarTex well. I might as well be a walking advert with StarTex on the
Yeah,
back
but
of my shirt.
the way you explained the other day, basically saying the New York Stock Exchange for the private sector,
Yeah,
like once people realize like exactly what it is and how they can use it, like it would not make sense for someone to choose not to use something like this or try using something like this when it's available. So a few years ago, I started my first business, which was Shwear, basically stands for secondhand wear. So like a Gumtree, I'm sure all of you know what Gumtree is. You can buy and sell things, but solely for clothing. Like if you want to sell a T-shirt, you can list it on there. Someone wants to buy it, they can buy it through the site. So back then, actually, I needed investors, and somehow, some way, these guys from America, they contacted me, and I actually got like a small investment from them. But I was very lucky, to be able to get that. And they found it, and they were interested in it, and they invested in it. But I was about 17 or 18 years old, so I also didn't know how to really run the business. And that's where the advisors section comes in. StarTex has these advisors where you can get advice from, and you can learn things and get assistance with your business, which I didn't have back then. And that's what the business, I would say, kind of, simmer down.
That's where you see. Remember the chat we had the other day with, it was the three of us and the other two gentlemen, and we touched base on that. We're going to be doing the show that we're planning on doing this documentary, taking the entrepreneurs through the journey of what they're up to. And then someone raised that question of, but aren't you guys like worried about the whole IP concept? And one or two guys also have mentioned it to me. They're like, no, they've got ideas. Like a guy I know in Egypt, he's building yachts for like the royal families in the Middle East. And they come across and they say, we've got these concerns of IP. And there's the biggest stigma in the world that it's IP that's hard. Guys, we all know that coming up with an idea is not hard. It's execution. It's literally, I actually implore people. You know what I thought about? I was like, if somebody goes and makes a start Z, I'm happy with that, but I want to see them execute it because this platform took me 4 years to get it to this point. I want to see guys execute if they go and steal my IP. It's the same as Amazon. Plenty of guys thought of Amazon. The other day we were talking about it. Even I put my hand up and bragged about how I thought about doing an Amazon many, many years ago. But guys, not
Yeah.
everybody has got that blood, sweat, and tears like stamina to execute this stuff. And I think that's where there's a big breakdown in this whole innovation space because one side of the spectrum, you've got these investors who are like, bring me the deals exactly like I want it. And you're like, well, I don't really know exactly how you want it. And then on the other side, you've got the founders who are like, cool, I've got a life-changing idea. And the guy like doesn't know what to do with it, how to conceptualize it, how to execute it, how to even set up a domain. I was speaking to a guy the other day. He's literally trying to set up a platform which is purely about education on how to even register a company. How do you like come up with a logo? How do you like come up with like a company name? It's actually become a big thing in my opinion, the 99% of the world don't realize that it's not zero that's hard. It's 0 to 1. And if you get to 1, then 2, 3, 4, we've all seen these, let's call them 10 years in the making overnight successes.
Yeah.
And it's really the conceptualization that gets guys, and you got to stick it out, man. You got to stick the perseverance out. If you don't have money to do it as a sole thing, do it on the side. Carry on with your daily job. When it starts making money, then get into it full time. But yeah, you hit the nail on the head there. I mean, that's pretty much IP. Guys, let's be honest. It's the year 2024. There really isn't that many new ideas anymore. It's just the guys that do something about it that make it onto the radar. So yeah, man, you hit that nail on the head. And especially being 17, 18, like you said, that's
Yeah, sort of very young.
you were so wet behind the ears. Anyone could have guys could have literally come and told like put stars in your eyes and you would have been like, oh my god, I'm the next Jeff Bezos.
The
So, yeah,
craziest
man.
thing is though, people took that idea that I had, and now there's a few companies that are doing it. The exact same concept I had, I just didn't execute correctly, like you're saying. My execution, because what do you know at 17 years old? So I just didn't really know how to do it. And then when you don't see results, you expect to see results like overnight, and I didn't see that at that age. So I was like, okay, you know what? Let me stop with this. And then another company I tried to do as well was FitHub. So basically, this was an all-in-one fitness platform. I created the website. Honestly, the sickest fitness website I've ever seen in my life. So I used to do websites as well back then. I did the website. I got a few personal trainers to like put on their meal plans and their diet plans. But the only thing is, I didn't have money to buy stock. I thought I was going to get stock on consignment. So here we go again. Trying to get an investor to invest in this beautiful concept and idea that I had. And I was also like 17. So yeah, so I've been through everything to know that Stardex is something a lot of people can utilize. Yeah,
You've seen the ropes, bro, and the most beautiful thing about investors, whether they're in a bank or an institution or private investor, I love how whenever you talk to an investor, the guy says, "Is this thing making money?" And you think to yourself, if this thing was making money, why would I be at this meeting with you?
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, why would I be here to give you something for the fun of it? If, bro, and then you're like, no, it's not making money. And they're like, oh, no, it's not for me if it's not making money. And then you like think to yourself, like, but then why do you call yourself an investor? You know, like we met, Candace, our CLO in the business. You both know her. No, Shaz, I don't think you've met her. Hamid has met her because he's with us in the team and we have our weekly exco meetings. And we met with this lady, and the company's name was Seed Academy. And their first question is like, are the projects at post revenue? And you're like, bro, I think you should go change that name on your wall there. Kind of doesn't go with asking guys to come to you with seed ideas, but your first question is, are you making money? Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the investment world.
it's funny.
100%.
I mean, Hamid, it's crazy that you were starting businesses at 17. I had quite a different start to things because I was in the arts and creative space. So I guess my thinking was always that I was bad at business and I had ideas. And when I was younger, I thought, okay, the idea was it. If you have the idea, it's going to get to the world. And then obviously with time, I've similarly started a few businesses. And like you guys are saying, it's all the barriers to entry on a great idea. And even if you've pushed through execution, in terms of the investment world, it's just a language that's hard to speak. So what's exciting, I guess, about StarTex is that this becomes an intermediary space for upskilling a founder, the advisor roles. It really, I think it's incredibly exciting, and kind of
Yeah.
wish that with my younger self had access to something like this. I'm sure, like with your ideas, Hamid, just to get that cash in, just to get that investment, to get
100%,
it going.
yeah. And the thing is, it's not
Uh,
even that it's just for founders. Like right now, we've got a holdings company, me and my cousin. What we do is we buy shares in different businesses. Obviously at that point in time, I didn't have money and I had to hustle my way. Trading was actually the thing where I created some income. But whatever I made from trading, I took that and I invested that into different businesses. They say the average millionaire has how many streams? I think it's 7, maybe it's 8 now. But you've got to invest into different things, get streams coming from
Mhm.
multiple angles, and whether you have 5 or 10% in multiple businesses, it all adds up. And you never know, like at the end of the day, one of those could like be the thing that completely sets you free.
and it's also the carry. You know what I've also realized, because such as obviously you guys know I'm involved in a few businesses. Like I'm somewhere close to maybe 10 businesses or so. I could say I've got some stake in. Do you know what I also realize is that like 7 of them fail, and like per month. I'm saying on a per month scale. 7 of them don't make me money a month, and then 3 of them make money, and then those 3 don't make money next month, and then like another odd 3 makes money, and then like another 7 random ones like don't make money, then like another 3 makes money. It's like literally the weirdest thing. Like this whole notion of the olden days, there was this whole concept of open and they will come. Guys, that's like so dead. It's like everyone is opening and no one comes, and then like one business is cool one month and then not cool next month and then cool the following month and then uncool again. It's like this whole trend that's like this volatility of business. It's
That's the thing.
phenomenal. I don't.
Any business can fail. You know what I'm saying? A business can have a good run and then they can slow down. That's why you've got to have multiple. So that one is, running slow. You've got the others to like keep you keep you up. And that's what I believe in. A lot of people they like to focus on one thing, but obviously you've got to get that first thing right, where you've at a point now where you can put your time and effort into something else. Then you get the second thing right, and you keep doing that and doing that until all of them are just running. Like the entire goal for me, obviously, is to just get all of my investments and businesses just generating passively, like automated, where I don't really need to do anything. If I want to work today, I can work today, but pretty much just oversee everything. That's the goal I have, and I plan to retire in the next like 5 years.
Bro, you're not even 30 and you're planning to retire in 5 years.
Yeah, I
But
know.
Hamid,
People find it weird when I say that.
but you will, my brother. You gotta believe and it will happen. But Hamid, don't you actually also find it a bit of a knowledge barrier? Because funny enough, I was having a chat with a buddy earlier, and he said to me, "Sweet, he's now put down his first deposit. He's getting his first apartment in Durbanville." And I said to him, "Bro, this is what you literally got to do now. Now that you've got the bank giving you the money for the first apartment, you got to make sure that your expenses are up to a certain amount and your rental is above it, and you take that buffer difference and you use that money to get more money out of the bank to buy your second unit." And it was like I fell from heaven as Jesus while I was telling the guy thing, because he thought to himself, "Sweet, now he's on a roll with the one apartment," but it's like not thinking of, cool, next year let's get the second one, then the third one, then the fourth one. See, I'm starting to actually realize that majority of, when you look at these guys that build up these big like portfolios where they have different revenue streams, it's actually not that other people don't wish they were these guys, but certain other guys get to like a point and they're like, "Sweet, I'm comfortable. I'm going to get one apartment and get rent from it, and that's it. I'm sorted." There's none of this like long-term vision, legacy thinking that used to be around back in the days. So yeah, hopefully this show can actually help
100%.
guys.
I feel like obviously some people they just want to get to a point where they feel comfortable, and once they're comfortable, they're happy. You know, they reach a certain point like, okay, expenses are covered, I'm here, I'm happy. But other guys they have more of a vision where they just get addicted to it. You know, they just want more and more and more. That's the thing. And also, like you said, a lot of people don't know. You know, like in school, I saw a meme the other day. They teach you about parallelograms. You know, something you'll never ever use in your life. They don't teach you about taxes. They don't teach you about investing. So that's why people don't know where to look for this information and to learn about these things.
100%. And social media has just become dead scrolling of watching people begging for attention. We've gotten to a point where people are eating like raw liver just to get attention. What was that guy, Liver King or something?
Liver King,
Like,
yeah.
people are doing anything. The guy's eating raw liver literally on social media just to stand out above other people. And then you've got this post Andrew Tate generation, which is like, wow, really, really opinionated. So people aren't really learning much, exactly like you said. But remember something about the school system, and I don't want to sound like I'm trying to change or have too over opinionation about this, but guys, remember the school system was created by Henry Ford and a couple of other guys in government to train people to learn how to work a 9 to 5. That's all it was. It was to train people to come
Yeah.
work a 9 to 5 in a Ford factory, and if you did well, you would be a manager. And if you kind of understood a little bit more of the problem solving, that's the basis of why they teach you these parallelograms, and they teach you like history, which has nothing to do with nothing, and how to use pi and x minus 2 equals this, because they're kind of trying to outweigh what is your problem solving analytical skill. So when
Mm.
you do come work in the factory, are you going to just put the tires on the car, or are you going to be the manager of the guy that overlooks the guy putting tires on the car? And that is actually, in my opinion, become one of the biggest fundamental issues in society, that our schooling system has remained the same for the last 100 years. Not much
Yeah,
has
but the
really
world
changed.
doesn't.
Just the world hasn't changed, and that's become it. And that's also the same thing, like when you ask a 9-year-old kid, what do you want to be when you grow up? The guy's like, I want to be an astronaut. I want to be a cowboy. I want to be cops and robbers. I want to be a bank robber. I want to go to the moon. And then you ask the exact same kid at 18, he's like, I want to be an accountant. I want to be a lawyer. Because fundamentally, the system that he went through told him whatever you thought could have happened can't happen. Just be the lawyer and just go and make some money so that you can make ends meet and you can live a mediocre, mundane life at this level, where you just make enough for your expenses and an occasional once in a while dinner, and accept that as like a phenomenal life. And then they don't they don't really understand it's actually not even about the money. It's really not about the money, because this is what I've realized. And guys, I'm rambling on a bit, but just bear with me. This is what I've actually realized between successful people and unsuccessful people. Successful people don't see money as the goal. Unsuccessful people see money as the goal of trying to make money just to cover what they want. Successful people see money as the tool to build the legacy, which is why you get a guy like Elon Musk and everyone's like, the guy's worth 250 billion. Why doesn't he just retire? That guy's not going to retire until he puts a man on Mars. It's not about the money. It's literally about, I said I'm going to put a man on Mars and that's going to be my legacy. And you're never going to see that guy retire until he does that. It's the same as Steve Jobs. The guy died towards the end because he died working with however billions the man was worth, even at that stage. Forget about what Steve Jobs, if Steve Jobs was alive now, he'd probably be the wealthiest man in the world if you fundamentally look at his equity in the company and what the company's worth. But the man literally died working because his vision was to put a computer in every single person's pocket in the world. And it wasn't even about the money, it was literally about the legacy. It's like Achilles, Hercules, Julius Caesar. These guys are immortal. The Holy Grail is not to live 1,000 years. The Holy Grail is that after you're gone, people still know your name for 1,000 years. And that's what I've really realized, the difference between wealthy and poor people. Wealthy people want that legacy that makes them immortal. And I will make money on the journey because I need money to do this thing. And then poor people are literally like, I work, make money, cover my expenses, go back to work, make money, cover my expenses, maybe have some balls to buy property like my buddy that I was mentioning to you guys earlier. I think that's what's changed, over the last, let's say, 1,000 years. Because 1,000 years ago, guys were going to war and shouting and screaming and saying, I'm going to be remembered in perpetuity. Guys don't think like that anymore, man. Everyone's like crypto scam, this scam, that scam, money transfer, overnight scheme. Yeah, that legacy barrier is gone. But yeah, sorry for rambling, man. Shaz, jump in, brother. You
Well, no, but look, you just got me thinking from with social media and everyone starved for attention, and also, to your earlier point that you've got all these businesses and everyone's fighting for attention as a business, and then as individuals we're all fighting for attention to be seen and heard. So it is such a weird different time for humanity, because I don't think we've ever been we've never had access to this much information, you know. Um, so it's going to be interesting to see how we adapt, and exactly what you're saying, like what people stood up for, what people, successful people or people with dreams, kind of the reason behind things. And now we're in this uh, fight for attention, fight for seconds on a phone screen. So it's quite a thing. I mean, either as
The
a
thing is,
business or consumer.
Hamid, go,
who's
brother.
gonna go? The thing is, I feel like a
Go.
lot of people are stuck in NPC mode. People are just they're just on autopilot. They go through their days, they finish school, they get a job, they do what they have to do every single day. They come home and they think that's just it. They aren't able to see anything other than that. Like, it's very easy to get stuck in that NPC mode. I'm not sure if you guys know what that means. Non-player character, like in GTA, those people that just walk
Yeah,
around.
yeah, we
So
know, don't worry.
I feel like a lot of people are just simply stuck in that, yet they don't know that they are stuck in that,
Yeah, and they
if that
wake up
makes
at
sense.
70 when he gets his retirement from one of the pension funds and stuff, and he thinks to himself, holy shit, what just happened for the last 70 years? I remember graduating high school. It's literally that, like, you're literally talking of survival mode. You've got a whole world of people that are literally in survival mode, that they don't actually think past, how do I live today? Wake up tomorrow, live today. Wake up the next day, live today. Live, live, live. But what am I like putting aside as like what I'm going to be remembered with kind of concept, and it's really become very interesting, man, how the world has gone in that direction. Like Shaz said earlier, you've got a generation and you've got a world. You see the beauty about our age group, and Shahir and I were like in that same age group where we're a little bit older than you. I mean, we remember the world where it wasn't about technology, where it was about like Sega, Sonic the Hedgehog came out and we thought he was the coolest thing on earth. So we remember the world where if you wanted information, it was literally go and ask people. And if you wanted attention, it was literally do something radical at a party that everybody speaks about you. It wasn't that like ease, convenience of through a mobile phone. And also we now, like I said, we like that age group because you see the generations before us don't understand technology. The generations after us don't remember manual worlds. Let's call it that for the sake of the discussion. So we're like stuck in this like between, and we were there during Y2K when the world was supposedly ending, and we had, guys, I had the biggest party because I was like, the world is ending tomorrow, da 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 da. So we're like stuck in this between where we remember manual world and now we like no technology world. And it's like this generation. First there was the Google generation, then it became the social media generation, now it's the AI generation. That's the next one. And the funniest thing, I promise you, is that as easily and accessible as information has become, people are not as intelligent as they used to be. I promise you, if you put someone who's like got his phone, a guy with a phone literally on a desk against like a 60-year-old man, like the 60-year-old man will outdo him in common sense on any day, on any given day, than the guy that's even got his phone there to Google stuff in the discussion. Because these guys, like, they lived through it every single day. The problem solving was literally go get yourself in shit, learn from it, and learn. And now Now it's like a generation where you've got this Dunning-Kruger effect. I don't know if you guys know much about this Dunning-Kruger effect. You've got a generation where, Hamid, I don't know if I saw Shahir nodded his head. He knows. I don't know if you know about this thing. I want you to go and read up on this thing called the Dunning-Kruger effect. The Dunning-Kruger effect is the scientific research behind that stupid people overestimate their value, and they are constantly talking about how they know how to do something and they're so great at doing something and they're so intelligent and they're so loud. The concept of the loudest person in the room is always the weakest. It's literally the theory of how intelligence people underestimate their value, and they think to themselves, if I can do this thing, then so can everyone else. So they don't actually understand that this thing that they've broken through, that they can do, that others can't do, they underestimate their value because they constantly want to learn more, and they believe there's nothing special in what they do, which goes back to Steve Jobs. If you watch Steve Jobs towards the end of his life, the guy never thought he was special. To this day, the guy never thought he was special. He was like arrogant and, hey, I'm the guy that started this. I got kicked out. I came back. Oh my God, I beat BlackBerry. Because remember, Apple came and destroyed BlackBerry. But you will never see Steve Jobs acting like an Andrew Tate, who's like a guy who just thinks he's so special, because he's literally the definition of the Dunning-Kruger effect. And it's like a joke the other day. I was telling my missus, I'm like, when a loser makes money, he doesn't become cool. He just becomes a loser with money. And it's like,
they say money brings out the real you.
Yeah, you're not cool. You're not all of a sudden more intelligent, better looking, awesomer. You're actually just a loser with money. And that's when the deciding factor comes into life. Now you've got money. What are you going to do with it that helps? And guys, unfortunately, we live in this very flashy era where the guy makes money and the first thing he thinks of is buying a big house and a car and a Gucci belt, instead of going and thinking of helping other people. And it's also funny because that same guy will have had money struggles, coming to money, And if his buddies are like in money struggles, instead of thinking, I know what this feels like, he's like, no, let me rather go get a Gucci belt. So it's just become a very, very interesting era that we're living in. But listen, it's technology's never been greater, huh? And if we actually fathom what we've got as an energy into technology, guys, I don't even think we'll get on Mars. I think we'll end up on like 5 or 6 different planets. But it's just a matter of like fathoming and putting that energy towards using everything we have now.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I've rambled quite a bit, man. I've
No,
rambled.
no, I'm
So
learning a lot though.
what's going on in the entertainment world? Shaz, talk to us, my brother. Tell us
Fuck,
what's going on out there.
I'm just busy finishing a show at the moment, and yeah, it's gone over from last year, so we're just trying to get it done. Quite difficult working with an entire cast of very, very high end entertainers. Um, but yeah, otherwise, I mean, look, in terms of what we're doing, I think it's the very cool thing is because the world's up for grabs in terms of ideas, letting go of old um, ways of doing things. From my point of view, with storytelling, it's really a great and exciting time because, I mean, we've all seen, Trump's election, the Facebook drama, social media being used to affect people's minds, and so what's been on my mind all this time is that this tool that I've been doing for like 20 odd years has always been used in some ways against us as a mass populace, to either dumb us down, make us believe certain things. You look at like news, just nightly news. Our parents were believers; they believed everything, and we aren't. We double check information. Well, hopefully, we double check information. So the nice thing that I'm finding is that right now we're kind of at the precipice of where we can use stories to really change the world for the better. We can kind of go against what's been done to us, and that for me, even with Start X, with everything we're talking about and doing, is really exciting. Because if you start taking the power of storytelling mythology and you start using to make people see better ways to live
Inspire.
life, yeah, to
Inspire
inspire.
them. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's
Inspire.
that I think
It's a
is
big
something that really
it's a big
excites me.
it's a big word, hey my brother. It's a big word. But also remember that Usain Bolt says that I trained for 10 years to become famous in 10 seconds.
Yeah.
There's always that, where not everybody is keen to go and sweat and bleed for the 10 years to become famous in 10 seconds. But if you inspire and you pass the message on, guys are there, hey, they're still believers. They're still guys that want to change the world. There's still people that haven't been touched by this, let's call it darker side of
Yeah.
global media and social media. And it's, but then you know what the beauty also is, and you touched up on this. Our parents' generation watched news in the afternoon, they watched it midday, and they watched it in the evening. And that propaganda was like filtered into them to believe what was supposed to be taught to them in the background, where all sorts of things were happening. Like the Vietnam War. For like 5 years into the Vietnam War, people didn't even know what the Vietnam War was about until like free journalism went over there and said, guys, what you're seeing on the news and what's going on here and nothing alike. And the beauty of the new generation is guys are not that glued into the TV propaganda machine like they used to be. So
Mm.
they're a bit free with, like streaming channels like Netflix and Disney and Showmax and Amazon and HBO Max. And there's all sorts of streaming channels. Guys get to choose what they want to watch versus our parents' generation of this is what's on between 6 to 7, between 7 to 8. That's what's on. If you missed it, you either recorded it. And remember, they come from an era before VHS. I don't even think Hamid knows what the word VHS means. and
Uh,
and Our parents come from an era before VHS. You couldn't even record it. If you missed an episode of your favorite comedy, it was like somebody had to explain it to you and you would have like laughed about it. So we have, over the last, let's say, 20, 30 years, we have started winning a little bit of being forced in the direction of what the propaganda machine wanted us to do, to having a bit of free will. And now it just really comes down to that, like inspiring guys to choose the right thing when they're streaming. You know what I mean? Like when a guy can watch a documentary of something of substantial value, rather watch that over watching Scarface and thinking of yourself as some Cuban drug lord, and that becomes your mindset. So it's about, exactly like you said, through storytelling, you inspire the guy to want to go and be that thing that he's thought about being in his head. Yeah, man. That's, I mean, like I said, our generation, we're actually, in the most modest way I can say this, I think we're the most interesting generation because we remember the world before technology and then we like got wiped into now seeing the world of technology. So we've got this like understanding of two worlds. The generation before us still doesn't understand technology, and the generation after us doesn't understand life before
No,
technology. So
100%. I agree with that. You know, like the way the world is now, everyone's just on their phones, everyone's doing everything for Instagram. You know, like sometimes you wonder what was the world like before any of this even existed. And you know, maybe better, maybe not. I don't know.
yeah, it's like so debatable because it could have been better, it could have been worse. But I do find one fundamental thing very interesting with social media, and a lot of guys actually like expose themselves because before social media, people also had Ferraris and nice cars and flew on private jets and went to Dubai and ate well, and it was like cool to do it, but there was no bragging about it. But now what's
Yeah,
happened with social media, guys are doing things that like to them is cool, but to like the average guy, it's not cool. And they like brag about it, which kind of exposes you. Because remember, if you fly on a private jet and all you're doing is taking pictures of it, that's kind of you saying, yo, I've never done this thing. And now like I'm finally like trying to be cool by doing this thing that other people find normal. So it just comes down to that like normality stabilizer where guys kind of should use social media to like inspire by being on a private jet. Yo, guys, you can also be on a private jet. This is what you got to do. I went through hard times myself. More than just that, hey, I'm on a private jet. Look, I'm popping bottles. I look cool. It's really
100%.
just
But the thing
using the
is,
tools.
a lot of people just do it for validation, you know? They don't have
Mm.
self-validation, and they crave that, they need that. When people see likes, they see views, they feel something inside, and then they get addicted to that feeling, you know, and that comes down to the person individually, and that's validating yourself within yourself where you don't need that, you know?
Yeah, it breaks you down. Do you know that the world after COVID has been literally on the brink of mental health instability? That they've even saying that the world is going to have a mental health pandemic. And look, this is an opinion. Like I said, this is an opinionated show. Viewers, disclaimer: please don't get upset about any of us having opinions. I believe COVID pushed people over the edge because up until COVID, we all had demons to deal with. But
Mm.
what was the best way whenever you felt like you were in a bad mood? Go out with your friends, go socialize, go have a drink,
Escape.
go just keep busy, escape. What did COVID do
Yeah.
to people? COVID forced people to have to sit in a room and deal with their demons. And a lot of
Mm.
people ended up committing suicide or pushing themselves by overdose and like pushing that limit. And the ones that made it out of COVID, guys, some of these guys have never been mentally the same. You will actually see, I've got buddies, I remember them before COVID and I see them now after COVID. They just never really dealt with having to sit in a room and dealing with their demons and dealing with their problems. It's still like a battle that they never kind of won. Shaz, I'm sure you've seen that with a lot of buddies of ours, man. We had like the happiest lives before COVID. Now you'll see this guy's like so morbid. He's become like a zombie of like the happy, jolly guy that you remember.
I think also it's weird because COVID happened. We had to face this whole thing, and then as well, you look at the way the world's changed economically after COVID. So it's more and more. I think being exposed to ourselves, and then also just very very stressful macroeconomic times. And look at everything that's kind of happening in the world. We're all questioning what happens next. How do I keep a piece of myself sane? How do I manage all of these changes? And then we're talking about like social media and validation. Am I doing the right thing? I want to be liked. I want to be seen. I kind of miss the analog world, our parents, and we got to kind of, our younger years, where what you dealt with in your life was in front of you. Now, with this access to everything, it's like sometimes I feel like too much information is not necessary because then it's just stress that
True.
sits in your head. You know what I mean? It's just like swishing about, making you
And it's
worry
also
about
like,
things. No, go for
sorry,
it, bud.
carry on.
No,
It's
no,
also like I
just
feel like, okay.
Hamid, go. Let's do like school.
So
Put your hand up. Hamid, go.
okay, yeah, perfect. I also feel like for men, it's like they feel like pressure where this guy's got a Lamborghini, this guy's living this perfect life, like I need to get there. Then they feel like they're not good enough. With social media, that's the first thing you see. You wake up in the morning, you're scrolling, you see this guy's on a private jet, this guy made this much money, he's doing this and that. So as a man, you're gonna feel lesser of yourself seeing all of these other guys winning. I'm not saying myself, but I'm saying for most people, that's how they look at it. They don't look at it like as inspiration. They look at it more like this guy's like younger than me, this guy's my age, and he's doing all of these things. Why am I not in that position? Like I'm working so hard, yet I don't have any of these things. And then that ultimately leads into depression and then anxiety because you start feeling stressed. You need to get to that point as quickly as possible.
Oh, bro, what you literally just summed up is the word entitlement. If every human being on this planet can come to the realization that nothing is owed to them, nobody would ever get jealous of anybody else. So it's
100%, yeah.
literally the fundamental problem of hatred, anger,
Mm.
jealousy, bitterness. All of these, they all come from the stem core of as soon as you start thinking that the world owes you something. And if you see a guy in a Lamborghini and you like think, oh, bro, how come I work harder than this guy? I should also have a Lamborghini. That's literally the word entitlement. And yeah, there's no beating that, huh?
And
There's no way
that's
around
where
that.
the hate and jealousy comes in hand because like when I was young, I made a lot of money when I was like pretty young, driving a G-Wagon and stuff. And everyone always said things about me like this guy's a drug dealer, this guy's a mafia, this guy's this guy's that. And people say these things to make themselves feel better. Like obviously he didn't work hard, obviously he didn't earn that, so they make up all these rumors and stuff to make
He
themselves
cheated.
feel
He
better
cheated. That's what
about
makes them feel
yeah,
better. He cheated to have the
100%,
things I
yeah.
should have.
Mm.
Yeah, but that's again, it's that entitlement and it's also that expectation. Guys, I've had a very, very hard life. And the funny thing is, I never needed to have a hard life because I've always had a great family structure and my parents were always there and I've had brothers that always had my back. I chose to go and have a hard life. And the fundamentals of almost everything I can learn, if there's like a takeaway that I can give for our viewers, is that the second you enter the world with expectations that something is owed to you, whether it's in business, whether it's in relationships, whether it's in marriages, just because, and I'll say this and touch wood, it's like just one of those things. If you get married to a woman and you love her with all of your heart and she doesn't reciprocate it and you end up having a divorce, that's a fundamental of expectation. You know what I mean? Because you gave so much, you expected that that person would give so much back. But what's behind expectation? It's that entitlement of because I'm giving, I should be receiving. But that's really not how the fundamentals of any ideology works. It's like a self-made, it's really a human-made concept, expectation. The word expectation is like human-made. There's no religion that says that anybody is owed anything. There is no like spirituality that says, oh, because you just wish that you're better than other people, it should happen. It's one of those human flaws that we have these expectations. Like I don't want to say it in a negative way. You shouldn't have expectations of people and things like that. But if you can manage your expectations, I believe you could have an easier life. Like I said, I had a hard life. I expected more of certain situations, and it falls on me. Nobody said that any of those things were meant to be what I had expected them to be when they didn't turn out to be the thing that it was supposed to be, and I get upset at other people. That expectation was internal. It's actually the fundamentals of Indian cultures and stuff are phenomenal at this. If you're capable of living in an internal state of existence rather than an external existence, like as an example, if you're capable of sitting in a room by yourself and making yourself happy rather than having to get a Ferrari to be that same form of happy that you could have done without the Ferrari, I think that's the secret to true happiness. If you live internally,
100%.
if you can live internally, there's guys say it, I'll say it on the show, but I don't live internally. I try my best. I've tried my absolute best. But yeah, there isn't that many people. I think the monks are literally the only people on this planet that have worked it out, that I could literally sit in a temple and I could be happy, I could be sad, I could be angry. I can trigger my own emotions internally rather than my emotions being triggered from the external world. I think that's where we got it wrong, guys. I think that's where things changed. When as humans we started saying, I'll be sad if this didn't happen. I'll be happy if I get that. I'll be joyful if this happens. You're attaching your value and internal emotions to the external world. Yeah, like I said, if there's one takeaway, if there's one takeaway I could give to our viewers, try your best to live in an internal state of existence. Who's a perfect example of this? My 5-year-old son could be sitting on the bed and the kid will just burst out laughing. And you think to yourself, holy shit, what is this kid laughing at? He's just sitting in a room looking at a wall. But he triggers that form of happiness internally that I can't get. I have to go and make $1 million to be as happy as that kid was staring at a wall.
Just to add to that, my sister actually said it the other day. She was asking me, what is the single fundamental kind of route to not being happy? And that's chase happiness. If chasing happiness, or this thing you have to get to, is constantly at the forefront of your mind, you're never in the internal state, you're never in the now. So in that same way, and I guess as a society we just get triggered, or not triggered, everything's designed for our attention, for us to, this will bring you happiness, this car, this thing, this phone, as opposed to kind of living, like you're saying, in that internal state and just learn to be at peace in the moment.
True, guys. True. You know what I actually realized, and I did this, I think, about a couple of months back. If you guys look at my Instagram, you will see that I literally only follow one person, and that's literally my business of StarTex. And before this, I used to follow about 5,000 or 6,000 people. And the reason why I did it is because whenever I'd open my social media, I would get caught up in what those 5,000 or 6,000 people were doing on a daily basis, rather than me thinking of what I'm doing on a daily basis. And for me, the break away from that was, I was like, let me just unfollow everybody, because I still need social media, because, we all need it for business reasons and things like that. But I realized that if you're just not watching what everybody else is up to, life could be a bit happier. But again,
100%. People get addicted to it. You know what I'm saying? People don't realize that they're addicted to social media. They think it's like a normal thing to just sit and scroll. Like it's literally like an addiction.
That's the world, man. That's the world. Okay, guys, let's wrap it up. I think we're sitting on. I took my glasses off to look better looking, but we're sitting on 50 minutes. Hamid, you got to get to your event. Shaz, my brother, you said
Yeah.
you got some other event as well happening. So let me thank Boblo. The all of a sudden English as a second language came out for me there. Let me thank both of you, and gents, I love you both. You know I do. We've got big plans in the future together. Viewers,
100%.
thank you for popping in. I see we've got quite a few comments, eh? Whoa, guys. We actually never followed. Check on the side there. We actually never really checked out the comments there. Wow.
How do I
Thank you
check
so
the
much.
comments?
On the side of the studio, it says their comments. It's actually dropped the comments underneath. Yeah, we actually, guys, it's our first episode. We're sorry. We never checked out the comments. Thank you, viewers. Thank you, my brothers. Let's
Thanks
jump
Thank you
so
very
much,
much.
bro.
and
Ciao, ciao.
Enjoy the rest of your
Thanks, my
evenings.
brother.
Cheers, everyone. Bye.
Love to see you guys.